Alright, so I'm calling this after my fast. 160.5 pounds. And then there's my fat percentage. The muscle mass looks a little concerning because it feels like I'm quite losing a lot of muscle mass. But, oh well, we'll deal with that later. But my BMI is finally going into the healthy range. Anyway, that's it. That's the fast 182 hours. That's I think this was 7 days. Yes, 7 days. You can see here that I first went for 5 days, and then I went for 7 days after that. Went for an additional 2 days after the 5 days. So this is the zero fasting app. So I was just going to show you how I'm going to break my fast, which turned out to be about 7 days. Or what was it now? Yeah, it turned out to be about, I started from last Friday, and I kind of broke it softly I just broke it like around like 2 p.m. on this Friday, so it's about 7 days. So the way I broke it really is I just had some collagen plus vitamin C. That's really what I do. And that's how I drank that. And that was a couple hours ago. To be honest, when I drank it, I got a little head rush. And I kind of felt tired. So, I don't know, made me take a little nap for a bit. But now that it's kind of a little later in the day, it's like 5 o'clock. This is probably the proper meal that I'm doing for the day. I'm now breaking the fast with soup, which I made. This was what I did last time. So this is a kind of weird concoction of like broth plus seaweed plus shrimp plus liver plus remains of some meat I had the other day. Yeah, and then this was leftover salmon that I had some while ago. Yeah, so I guess my philosophy for breaking fast is really trying to for me it's really about like trying to pack in as much nutrient dense things as possible. I don't really believe in like breaking fast with like fruit or juice or something like that. I go for what's nutrient dense, and to me that's really seaweed. Seaweed has some iron, but I don't count on the iron from seaweed. But the main thing about seaweed is it's got iodine, and then there's liver here, which is also kind of one of the most nutrient dense foods on the planet. So the liver will give me all my vitamins, and then there's shrimp just for protein, also because I like shrimp. And then yeah, that's how I break my fast. And then also in this broth I added like 50 grams of butter, so there's quite a bit of fat in this. Yeah, so that tastes really good. I also used one of the I also have this like dashi packets. If you want to make miso soup or something, like rather than trying to make the broth yourself, which is actually quite easy to make the broth yourself as long as you have like as long as you have the kombu and the bonito flakes, which is probably the best way because the healthiest way to make the broth. Oh, but you can also buy these packets from a Japanese grocery store, which I use them. Which I'm a little wary of those packets because they contain all sorts of crap. They contain like salt, and they contain sugar and MSG and stuff, but it tastes pretty good. So I use one of those dashi packets to add to this broth, which in retrospect I really don't need it, but I'm trying to empty out my pantry, so it's fine. Yeah. it's fine. I don't know. Last week I mentioned that I wanted to do like rolling fast. You eat for one day and then jump right into it. But I think I'm probably going to break that a little bit and take the time to eat for maybe a couple days, and then going right into the next one. And I'll mention that for a few reasons. Let's talk about this fast though before I go jump into other things. So when I first started this fast, the goal was 5 days. And I didn't show it, but after the refeed of last Thursday, I gained 5 pounds, which was fine. I didn't think much of it. But unfortunately, it took me about 3 to 4 days to lose. Actually, it was closer to 4 days. It took me about 4 days just to lose the 5 pounds I'd gained, which was a bit demoralizing because it was like, I kind of expected that maybe I would lose the 5 pounds over 2 days, and then the rest of the 3 days I can actually target that for real weight loss. But this time it actually took like 3 to 4 days to lose that 5 pounds, which left like maybe only like the 4th and 5th day to maybe lose a pound. So and the goal of the fast was to actually, I think the end of the fast weight was like 165, and then I gained 5 pounds back to 169, 170. And then maybe, and then on Tuesday or so I was kind of looking at 164. And I decided that it was better to actually extend it, to actually go into to actually get down to 163 or so, 163, 162, because you realize that when you refeed, you're going to gain weight. That's not, that's just what happens. And but I needed a psychological buffer. Like if I'm going to gain 5 pounds, I would rather not gain 5 pounds and go back to 170 again, because I think that psychologically that would be quite taxing. So I decided, I preferred that I should have just, fast a few more days to actually gain that extra, to lose that extra 1 or 2 pounds, so that when I refeed, I'm not going back to 170 again. I'm not going back to 170 again. I'll probably go back to 168, which is, I can handle that. Psychologically I can handle that. So that's why I extended the 5-day fast to 7 days. And that, so that sort of, brings this philosophy of like refeeding, because it's like, a lot of communities would be like, you should try for the smallest refeed as possible. And I'm not sure how much true. I think that makes sense, because it's like, if you're gaining 5 pounds and then you have to spend a lot of days just trying to lose those 5 pounds over a fast, and a fast is very taxing, then it's probably not that it's not that prudent. It's, it makes sense. But at the same time, I'm noticing that, like, the first fast I had, like, after the second day, I felt pretty good. Even though there were moments of weakness and things, I felt like you can actually feel the high of ketosis. But this fast was actually, this second fast was a lot more challenging. I didn't quite feel that high of ketosis, even though obviously you're in ketosis, because how else are you going to survive? So I didn't quite feel that high of ketosis. So that's why I'm sort of wondering that maybe so that's why, I'm kind of wondering that, it's a small refeeds better, or a refeeds that actually target you, like trying to replenish as many nutrients as possible, better. Because I remember, not now, but like a few months ago, when I've tried to do long-term fasts, and I've always sort of failed on like the 3 to the 4 day mark, because I just feel like complete shit. And I remember one where it was probably on the 4th day, and I had some like Monster, the sugar-free Monster, with the sugar-free Monsters have like caffeine and like B vitamins and some other vitamins and stuff. And I remember drinking that. because I was just feeling so depleted. I thought, you know what, I need some caffeine, so I'd rather just take it from this sugar-free Monster drink rather than having to make coffee, because I don't drink coffee. I can't stand coffee. But I drank that, and instantly I felt so much better. It was quite miraculous. How I felt so much better on that sugar-free like Monster drink, and I couldn't quite figure out, was it the caffeine, or was it because it's, even though it's sugar-free, it's sugar-free. They use like sucralose as a sweetener, but even though it's sugar-free, sometimes that sugar-free, the sugars can trigger insulin, some sugars. But is it because that sugar triggered some insulin and somehow temporarily put me back into glucose burning mode, or was it the vitamins it had in there? Remember this? They have like, what it has. It has like a ton of B12 and B6 vitamins. So I was wondering, like, was it really the vitamins? So I still didn't. I didn't really figure it out. I couldn't decide, what was it about the sugar-free Monster drink that made me feel so awesome that I was ready to actually extend the fourth. I was ready to go from the 4th day and actually extend it into the 5th day. Couldn't figure it out. So now that I'm going into the second fast, I'm thinking about like energy levels and how I feel. I'm kind of, it's brought me back to that. What, maybe, I should think about the nutrients a little bit. How to refill, how to replenish those nutrients so that I can just get right back into it. Because unlike everybody else, I don't think fasts are awesome. It's I'll just say it right there. Yeah, I don't think fasts are awesome. It's taxing, and it's something that I have to spend some days and I lose some productivity over. I'm just doing it now because I'm in quarantine. But so the sooner I figure out ways to like try and make the fast easier and a little bit less taxing, or at least to be able to be more productive, the better it would be for me. Maybe I'll figure it out, maybe not. Or maybe I'm just going to suffer through it, because I'm not doing this long term. I'm probably going to do this for them at least to the end of all of May, and then maybe half of June. It depends. Because right now you saw my weight was around 161, 160, and ideally, I would like to get to 150 by the end of May. And the way how, with these refeeds and 5-pound regain and like, trying to lose extra pounds, and I'm not willing to like go more than 7 days, I doubt I'll be able to get to 150. Maybe 155 by the end of May. And then 155, and then probably do maybe 1 or 2 rounds in June just to get down to 150. And then after once I get to 150, I'm gonna stop there. It's not because I think 150 is a healthy weight, but I just think it's because at that point, I think it's diminishing returns. Because another issue I'm worried about is muscle loss, which this scale kind of tracks, but it's hard to believe it. But either way, whether the numbers are true or not, but it shows a consistent decrease in muscle mass. So I'm willing to sacrifice that until like once I get to 150, and then at 150, then I'm at the healthy weight for my height. I'm 5'6", but the way my stomach looks, my stomach is sitting around like, I have like 35 and a half inches around my waist, and for a woman like me, ideally you want your height to weight ratio to be under 1, so it should be under 34 inches ideally. Ideally, medically, and ideally, but aesthetically, I have to get it much lower than that. I have to. I'd rather get it down to like 30 inches. So, and I don't think that my stomach would be at 30 inches once I get to 150. That's not the way it's looking, because it feels like it's my inches decreases quite slowly. So I feel like I would have to like get down to 140 and 130 just to see a drastic decrease in my waist circumference. And I'm willing to do that slowly once I get to that point. And hopefully quarantine will be over by the time the middle of June rolls around. Who knows? It's this point in time I'm not really hopeful about quarantine. And then I can start going to the gym and actually prioritize weightlifting and weight training just to like get my muscle mass back in tow. And then I'm also, once I get down to 150, you realize that I would have to that my weight will creep back to 155 with refeeds and all of that. And once you start weight training, you start retaining water a little bit. And I don't mind my weight creeping back to 155. That's it's sort of like, yeah, psychological anchors. So that's another thing about this whole weight loss journey and fasting, is like you kind of have to like figure out what your numerical psychological anchors are. That takes into account the weight gain once you start feeding. And you have to figure out, and sometimes you might have to like go a little longer than you can, just so that you can handle the psychological impact of gaining back 5 pounds. But anyway, enough talking. I have to eat. So, in general, do I recommend fasting? Man, given how I feel, not really. Well, I wouldn't say not really. If you're impatient, yes, I recommend it. And that's my problem. I'm very impatient. And the slow, like losing 1 pound a week, and take a year to lose 40 pounds. I can't do that. I can't handle that. I guess the issue is that I can't handle deprivation for so long. I'm not that committed. Because I'm committed to weight loss, but I'm not that in my bone and the core of my core. I can't sustain it for very long. So, So I'm willing to suffer. Yeah, I'm willing to suffer for 6 weeks. That's the only way I can really describe it. It's like I'm willing to suffer for 6 weeks, take the hit, just feel like shit for 6 weeks, just so I can get this off. And then once I do that, and then go back right into it. So if you're impatient, yeah, I recommend it. And so another thing about fasting is that there's kind of like a learning curve about it. As in, like, you have to understand a little bit of the science of it in terms of like ketosis and your electrolytes and nutrient depletion, and whether you're going to get refeeding syndrome, and water intake, and when to stop, and when you think it's okay to stop. So there's quite a bit of a learning curve, and there's also quite a bit more risk to it. So in a way, that's why I'm not going to go up to tell someone asks me about weight loss. I'm not going to tell them to fast, because I don't trust them. Yeah, I really don't. I don't trust them to do the homework to understand the risks and the dangers of fasting. I don't trust anyone to do it. If they come up to me and ask about it because they're interested, then we can talk about it. But I would not recommend it to anybody. I can recommend like intermittent fasting, where you set a feeding window during the day, like 16-8 or 18-6 or any of those protocols, or 1 meal a day. Or maybe ADF, because ADF is because ADF you don't really run into dangers. I can maybe recommend that to them. But anything longer than that, I'm not going to go out of the blue and recommend people to do it, because I'm not willing to bear the responsibility of someone doing something dangerous and feeling that it was me that led them to that path. So wow, I really do recommend seaweed soup. So like seaweed soup, it's an inspiration from like Korean cuisine. It's they have like a famous seaweed soup that they make for like pregnant women take it apparently, and it's a very simple dish. It's like you have to get the seaweed from the Korean grocery because it's a particular seaweed. It's not nori. It's a different kind of seaweed. Uh, it's a very simple dish. It's really like water, seaweed, garlic, and beef, and that's what you give to pregnant women. And not what you give to pregnant women. You give to women who have given birth, and I highly recommend it because it's nutritious. Beef and seaweed, a great combination. So that's why I have my own spin with it. I added my own spin, adding like shrimp and liver and butter and stuff. At this point, it's no longer the Korean seaweed soup anymore. But that's my own spin. Another thing also about with feeding, I remember from the last time, I was really full. I couldn't eat very much, even though calorie wise it wasn't very much. Maybe in this, what's the calorie in this between? Well, the 50 grams of butter like ups it, but I think in overall thing is probably about 1,000. Adding the shrimp and the liver. Yeah. Yeah, the plantain. Well, I had some other food to eat. Like I had some leftover ribeye and eggs, and maybe sardines and avocado. Not sure. Probably a few hours, maybe a little later tonight, I might eat the avocado and sardines and leave the ribeye for tomorrow. I haven't decided how many days I want to read for. Definitely tomorrow, and then I don't know, maybe Sunday. The only problem is that if I take Sunday to eat, then the first day, well, the last time the first day of fasting was actually pretty good, pretty fine because I was full from the day before, so I didn't feel like I didn't feel like shitty on the first day. The second day that's when you start feeling it, and ideally I would like to eat. Ideally I prefer this the first 2 days when you know that you're in this transition period to be on a weekend. Just so that your weekdays can be focused on work. But this But this now, if I refeed, this sort of pushes my eating window. This sort of pushes my transition period into the weekday, into the work week. So I'm not so thrilled about that. I should get proper soup bowls. It's funny, I have all these plastic containers, but I don't really have a proper soup bowl. Oh well. I'm waiting for quarantine to be over so that I can go thrift shop. I can go thrift store shopping for stuff. But it's what it is. See, I'm quite full already. That's what happens when you eat broth. And there's this recipe's fish that I'm not sure how much of it I'm going to eat. Quite cold. Probably kind of cold. I have to reheat that. Anyway, I think that's it for like this refeeding session. Let's see. Yeah, I'll probably not see you until the next time I refeed after my fast. But anyway, bye.